I've been feeling fucked up, stuck in my ways. Stuck in my ways. Get the fuck up out my way. I don't give a fuck what they say. Yeah, count me out if you dumb. That's not a smart choice. She saying I'm a kid, but fell in love with my voice. I'm big jeans swaggin', high fashion. Back again, still spazzing, it's a habit. Everybody swear they know something. Tell the truth, they don't know nothing. Yeah, you right, I don't call you no more. Lately I've been trying to get my bands up. She know I'm the shit, I could boss the style up. Them other niggas losing, tell them that they time up. I know certain shit changed, but I miss the old days. I've been feeling fucked up, stuck in my ways. Stuck in my ways. Get the fuck up out my way. I don't give a fuck what they say.
I don't give a fuck what they say. I bet she gon' fuck for that pay. Pound where I like to take my bitches on a date. 3 bad bitches with me, I got 3 10s, baby. 50s and them blues, what I keep seeing lately. Everybody say they know some. In my zone late night, it's like 4 some. And that gas got me moving slow-mo. Lately I've been tryna get my bands up.
She know I'm the shit, I could boss the style up. Them other niggas losing, tell them that they time up. I know certain shit changed, but I miss the old days. I've been feeling fucked up, stuck in my ways. Stuck in my ways. Get the fuck up out my way. I don't give a fuck what they say.
Come along, children. Now we're going to have a little music.
Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to First Cut Live. We are back on this Wednesday afternoon to talk about all the movie news that has come out this week and the last week, as well as to talk about the box office and the movies that have come out over the weekend. I'm here to do all that with the main crew, RB3 and Sabrina in the house. What is up, y'all?
Hello, hello. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good. Happy to have you back, Sina. I know we miss you every time you're not here.
Happy to be here.
RB3, how you feeling, man?
Feeling good, making sure the people can hear us. You might not be able to see us just yet. That's a little bit of a technical flaw on my end, but there we go. We are here. We are for the peoples. We are always for the people. Let us know in the chat too. I see we have a handful of people in the chat right now. We have like 8 people watching. 9 people watching. I see 9 people watching, but we only got 4 likes. What's going on, people? What's going on, people? Let's get those likes going. We need every single one of y'all hit that like button right now. And, you know, even if you're watching on the replay, hit that like button, comment, let us know what are your thoughts on the films that we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah, I mean, I low-key say we get right to it. The movie that broke people, they did it again. Round 2. We're talking about Joker 2. I'm gonna call it Joker 2. I don't care.
Yeah.
Folie à deux.
Okay.
Folie à deux.
Okay. You got that français, you know,
Right.
French.
That oui.
There you go.
Right.
You know, we out here in Paris. Yeah, Joker 2. It absolutely broke people in half. People were losing their minds over this. On Friday, I saw like a bunch of tweets about it. People were absolutely nuts about this movie, but it's not about what people say, it's about what we say. So Sabrina, what did you think about Joker 2?
Oh my gosh. So I saw it on a Sunday night, and on Saturday, all of us went pretty hard for Brandon's birthday. So I was already sleepy to begin with, and it was like fully like Todd Philips was just rocking me to sleep. I was fighting for my life to stay awake. So let's start there. But also, I was going into this already with extremely low expectations. I didn't really care about the first one. I thought it was fine. But again, we've had this conversation a million times. It's you combine 2 fantastic movies by Scorsese, you add in Joker. It's like, okay, this is going to have, you know, mainstream audiences are going to think this is some kind of really profound message and very deep film. And like, I get it. But overall, for this one, I just found it to be extremely disappointing. I was looking forward to Lady Gaga. I'm a huge fan of hers, and I thought she was underutilized. I thought this was an opportunity to, kind of flesh out this different Harley Quinn. Definitely make it like super grounded, very gritty. I at least thought it was going to be serviceable, like the first one. And this one to me just didn't work on so many different levels. I wanted so much more from the musical numbers. I think even those, because a lot of them live in his head. This is all fantasy. It's like most of the musical numbers. So then I don't know why we can't get away from that kind of like comedy stage at some points, have some type of explosions, have some type of fireworks. Like I just want to see something grand. But overall, I just think it was a crazy fumble for this Joker character because the idea of him intrigues me. I really like the idea of this sad clown, and where he kind of fits into the world of Gotham. And then I saw the one positive I'll say is that I saw what Todd Phillips was kind of trying to say with this one. And I think it kind of flips the other one definitely like so much on its head of like, what happens when you lose yourself as a symbol of these people and you're not even living up to your own expectations of what you think this person can be. And then it's just disappointing for everyone involved. I like this idea. I just don't think any of it was done well enough.
I feel like I echo everything you're saying, Sabrina. I feel like there was intention there, but sometimes it just got lost in the sauce. And then sometimes I just felt like I'll echo your Dole comment as well. Like, my God, this movie dragged. Holy shit, this movie dragged. I just felt like I was like, man, is it over yet? And anytime I feel that way in a movie, I know it's not doing something well. Again, maybe y'all know my thoughts on the first one. I got absolutely no interest in these characters, so maybe that's part of it. But I also feel like just overall, it has no sense of creating intrigue or capturing audiences. I just feel like it's almost kind of dismissive of audiences and just doesn't really care about creating art that, I don't know, motivates, interests you, intrigues you, just makes you want to like tune in and want to continue diving into the story of these characters. But for me, it felt empty, kind of vapid, not really giving you anything. I didn't care for it. And I same with the musical numbers. I just didn't care for them either. I don't know. RB3, man, you're the one opinion that matters the most.
Well, why me? Why me?
Yes, you love the first one.
I do love the first.
You were dancing on the stairs outside of the AMC Burbank.
No, I saw it at the Cinerama Dome. Okay, Cinerama.
Oh, there you go.
ArcLight. You know what I'm saying? Projector shut out the first night I watched it too, but it's an amazing movie experience. I love the first one, and I like the first one a lot. And this one, I'm very conflicted on. I'm like pretty much right down the middle. There are definitely things I like. I like the acting, from Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga. Like, that's undeniable. The performances they're both bringing, I thought that was great. I thought the cinematography was phenomenal as well. Like the lighting, the color design, everything across the board was just phenomenal in those levels. The actual filmmaking was good. You know what I'm saying? It was just the story that left you wanting too much. They always say in movie making or in Hollywood, like, leave the audience wanting more. This movie left me wanting too much. I couldn't wait for Joker to stab up or kill up some people that I felt like he should have killed way earlier in the movie. You know what I'm saying? It's just no redemption. There wasn't a lot of hope or something to like have emotional resonancy to. And you're right, Sabrina. I think my biggest complaint is that the musical, sequences were not great musical sequences. If I'm not mistaken, rumors are that they did the thing where they record the sound on set.
I heard that too.
Yeah, like they record the set like the Les Mis way. I feel like Les Mis just killed musicals, like, because after Les Mis did that, a bunch of musicals did that, and I don't want that. I do not want that. I want to hear good vocals, processed vocals that sound nice. I feel like Joaquin Phoenix was like, some songs was like ears like nail scratching a chalkboard. Even Lady Gaga, who's a phenomenal singer, and we know she's a great singer specifically on these songs because she put out a whole album of her singing like a couple of these songs on her own, and we know her voice could like really bump it. And I was excited to see it in IMAX. Like I went to Universal City Walk, you know, and saw it in IMAX 70 millimeter, right? And then like I was like, man, I can't wait to see it in 70 millimeter, but I also can't wait to hear Lady Gaga's vocals in IMAX. And I feel like I was robbed of that. I feel like it was terribly mixed, terribly also choreographed too. Like it just felt like a Broadway musical. Like there were so many long takes, not a lot of energy, nothing to make the musical numbers feel particularly cinematic. They felt like they could have been on stage. So yeah, so it's like I'm right in the middle of it, honestly. Like there's some of it that I really, really enjoyed, and some of it that just was not my cup of tea at all. And honestly, is some parts of it that I dislike so much that I really can't even find myself like rewatching this movie like again. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and the thing is that it's so boring. Like that also really just like, I feel like ruins that rewatchability, because it's like, okay, we've already treaded these waters before. Why would I want to like go back through that slog? And yeah, like going back to everything you were saying, RB3, like Joaquin Phoenix, like he's doing his best with, you know, what he's given. There are those moments that I really love where he's trying to pull the Joker persona like out of himself. And, you know, like he's sitting in the back of the car, he's trying to smile, like he's forcing himself to kind of put on this mask. And some of that stuff is so great, but it's just crazy because between the first Joker and this one, so much is spoon fed to us in terms of like, here are the themes, look at this. But then we have those like very subdued moments that are just very lightly sprinkled throughout the film and not really touched upon as much as I would like them to. Like this is a moment that it's like, if it's you blink, you miss it. You know, if you're not fully invested in that. And then, yeah, going back to the musical numbers, even taking away like the whole like Les Mis singing live in like the production side of it, there was just almost nothing to a lot of the like set design. You know, I liked some of the outfits. There was that like 70s inspired look where they have the little microphones on stage and it says like Joker and Harley, I think, in the background. Lady Gaga is wearing yellow. Those kinds of like hair and makeup, her behind the piano where she has her little like go-go flip hair, little things like that I really liked, but I wanted more from the actual set itself outside of these characters, especially because it is fantasy. Like you can really stretch that imagination so far, and I feel like they were very limited in that.
Yeah, what is it about this movie, RB3, that you feel audiences really were taken aback by and were just so flabbergasted by?
Well, you know, I think there's a lot of things. I think the ending is the biggest thing that, you know, when you leave out of it, just leaves a horrible taste in your mouth. By the way, the production design for the film was done by Mark Friedberg. I actually didn't. I think the production design is like less of a problem. I think the story is more of a problem. I think the fact that we never leave the prison or the courtroom is the biggest problem. You know what I'm saying? Like courtrooms and prisons, you can't really like design too much around that. I thought what they did, like the little things that they did, like for me, my favorite set piece that they kind of showed in the trailer is like the scene when Harley and Joker like kind of almost break out a little bit, you know, like they set the fire, and it's like I thought that whole scene, like the first 45 hour of this movie is like perfection. Like they're cooking. Like we see Arthur at his low. He's like, he can't be the Joker. Like you said, Sabrina, he can't be the Joker. He's trying to get himself back. But then he starts to find himself again, like with Harley, and he starts singing the first song. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, now I get it. Like, and he's just singing. I'm like, yo, all right, cool. But then, and then the whole prison things happens, and then it just really took a turn. I don't want to get into spoilers, but it took a turn almost about halfway through.
I feel like,
yeah, it's been out. It made 37 million. People aren't going to see it. Nobody's seeing it. You know what I'm saying?
If you haven't seen it already, you're probably not going to go see it.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, no, it's just, I think, well, I'll try not to spoil it right now, but, you know, I'll save it for a little later. I just think I want to see Harley and Joker commit a little crime. You know what I'm saying? I just want to see them go out of the jail, commit a little crime, do a little crime situation. And if we would have gotten the same ending, it would have still been fine. It just felt like this movie was lacking a third act. Like the first act was the prison, second act, courtroom drama, and that should have been a lot shorter. And then the third act could have been an amazing climax that, you know, had us like outside and, you know, seeing Joker be Joker, Harley be Harley. But we never got any kind of moment like that. We never got to see the terrible guards. Like I love Brendan Gleeson. I love the performances by the guards. Like the acting was great, but there was just so many times like, Joker, why can't you just kill these dudes? Like, come on, like, and we just never, spoiler alert, we never see that. And it's like, that's so disheartening to me. Like, we never see any progression in character. It's only regression from the last movie, you know?
Yeah, and that kind of goes back to what I was saying about the musical numbers, because it's not like the set design or production design of the whole film itself. It's specifically the musical moments. Because I'm like, even if reality, let's say the story just doesn't, like, the story that they created doesn't take us outside of the courtroom or really outside of like Arkham. Outside of that, like, the musical numbers give you a chance to be fantastical, put them in Gotham. I think this version of Gotham is so interesting, and we just didn't get any of it in this. Like you said, during these musical numbers, show them what they fantasize about doing, which is anarchy, wreaking havoc on the city. Not just standing on a stage consistently for like every musical number. And she's like, Joker, let's give the people what they want. I thought, okay, wait, maybe right after this, they're going to go run in this fantasy sequence, go out and about throughout the city, and we just never get that. Like, they did not give us what we wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was pretty disappointing. Let's talk about the outside production aspect of it all. Obviously, this movie made, I think you said it, RB3, $38 million opening weekend, which technically, I saw someone post this, I think it might have been Bibiani. Technically, it's not bad, but for this movie, it's really bad.
Yeah, no, it's Bibiani. I love Bibiani. He's one of the only people who actually likes this movie, and I respect his opinion. Like, for like, but no, he's wrong. This is a flop. This is a flop through and through.
It's bad based on what the investment was. Yeah, the first movie made a ton of money. Like,
I think it was like over 90 million opening weekend.
Yeah, 96 million domestic, 180 million worldwide for first movie.
That's I mean, it was one of the biggest movies that WB had that year. I remember that. So it's definitely a flop. I feel like it's crazy. I've never, maybe I have. I feel like I've never seen a flop purely out of word of mouth that quick, right? Because usually a flop happens. Usually a flop happens when there's like a buildup to it. But this felt like just, I heard from a friend of a friend of a friend that this movie sucks. I'm not going to watch it. Like, that's crazy. I don't know what happened with this opening weekend that people didn't even give it a chance. Not even Gaga, not even like, I'm a big fan of the first one. I have to see how it turns out, even if people are telling me it's bad. Like, not even that segment was seen this weekend. What happened with that, RB3?
This confused marketing, man. Like, they hit the fact that it was a musical, and them doing that when people told other people, like, yeah, there's a musical, it turned people off. And I feel like they could have either went two ways with it. They could have either went, well, I feel like they tried to hide the musical aspect of it, and that failed. You know what I'm saying? I feel like they could have either put their best foot forth in like marketing the fact that it's a musical, or say that it's not, or they hide the fact that it's a musical in the trailers, but make it very clear throughout the rest of the marketing, through interviews and things like that, that's a musical. Even up until right before the movie came out, Todd Phillips was like, I don't think it's a musical, it's only two characters singing. Like, what? You're just going to confuse people, like, when you say stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So marketing fumbled. The trailers were okay. My thoughts on the first trailer, like, it was kind of whack, but the second trailer definitely fit. But then even when seeing the trailer, like, they put all the good shots, like literally everything good in the trailers, to the point of like, ain't nothing to really see. You could probably have more fun watching those 2-minute trailers than you would the actual movie. So again, I personally wasn't like bored. I stayed awake. I was into it, but I like the universe and I like the style, so I could, like, that's why I was into it. But most people just want to see a gratifying superhero type movie or a gratifying action type movie. Nobody wants to sit through an art piece, and I feel like that's what this one was basically trying to be, an art piece.
Trying to be, yeah. What do you think, Sabrina? What happened with the box office and word of mouth?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. When RB3 was talking, I was trying to hold back my laughter because I was remembering when we left the CinemaCon panel for Warner Brothers, and all of us were filming our first reactions. None of us spoke yet. And everyone's like, yeah, like it looks really intriguing. A lot of these shots are nice. Then RB3 comes in and he's like, I don't know about all that. Like immediately negative. So it was so funny. But yeah, I think it's just a fumble overall. It's a very hard movie to sell when you're going back on every single thing that you kind of established in this first film. The first film ended in such a way that now we're taking this and like, again, you have it commercial success, critical success, award success. It kind of hit every single avenue you really could want for like a film like that. But now you just walked back the entire character, the entire idea of what you presented in the first place, but you didn't do it in a compelling way that like grabs your attention. And like we said, like it's like what, 2 hours, 20 minutes, something along those lines. And I feel every single moment of that runtime. I think it's a hard sell to like, hey, spend $20, sit and watch this movie, sit and watch this character be entirely different from exactly everything that we saw from him in the first one. Maybe if there was, not saying they should have done this, and I'm not saying that, you know, my opinion is correct, but I wish there was something like some movie in the middle that could have kind of bridged this gap. And this musical aspect could have been really him, like kind of like, you know, losing his mind a little bit in the asylum, and he gets to escape with these musical numbers, make them more bombastic, have him questioning his identity in another film, or have some inkling of that, versus introducing that and having it be the main theme now of this film, which completely negates the ending of the last one. And also flesh out women characters. What's up with this and like Megalopolis? Megalopolis, I didn't get to talk about it. I just want to say this really quickly. The most jarring thing about that movie is having your lead woman literally just sit there. She's basically just someone to support and uplift your main like man character. And then the second she said, I'm pregnant, I just groaned. I was like, oh my God, of course. She's just sitting here supporting him. Then she gets pregnant and then they live happily ever after, whatever. Sorry, spoilers for Megalopolis. Nobody saw that either.
Nobody's going to see that either.
Yeah, no, who's watching it? And so, yeah, it was kind of the same thing with this Harley, is that she was only there to kind of be like the antagonist in his life. Like she supported him where she wanted to, but then she had her own agenda. But they had hinted at that from the moment she was introduced in the film. So that's why when she kind of takes that turn of like, oh, I didn't really care about you, I cared about the persona, we already saw that. Like when she puts the makeup on him and everything. So it's not surprising. There was really nothing there. She showed her hand right at the beginning. And so it's not compelling in the slightest.
Yeah, I mean, beforehand, Sabrina, I know this is kind of off topic, but since you brought up Megalopolis, beforehand, we were talking about movies made by a committee of fanboys, of like angry fanboys. And I feel like we already had that movie. It came out this year and it made $1 billion. And it's called Deadpool and Wolverine. And I feel like that's the exact same thing with her, with I don't even know that girlfriend's name. But the fact that she's just there to be like, I love you, Wade, make something out of your life. But if you do, but if you don't, but I'll be here for you, but I won't be here for you. And I'm just like, this is what they want. This is the perfect female character for these guys. And it feels like it was made by guys who were just like, yeah, what if she's like there for him, but he like wants to win her back? And he's like, I'm like, it feels like it was written by a bunch of dudes who were just like, this is what female characters should be in movies.
Right. Well, it's interesting that y'all brought up all, you know, Megalopolis, Deadpool, Wolverine, and Joker, because they all three kind of fit into. I don't think they're the same. I actually think they're the same.
Big budget trash movies.
No. Let me say let me not say that. I think they're the same but very different. I think Megalopolis and Joker fit on one side of the aisle, and Deadpool and Wolverine sits on the other side of the aisle, which is at least like Todd Phillips took a swing. At least Francis Ford Coppola took a swing.
True.
Deadpool and Wolverine is the most generic, corporatized, focus group tested. Exactly. Like, I have no respect for that movie. At least with Joker. Neither. Again, that's why I'm a little bit more in the middle with Joker, because I can in this year in particular, where it seems like everything's a corporate movie, like whether you're talking about Deadpool Wolverine, where you talking about Transformers 1, like that felt like the most like corporate movie of all time, even more than like the other Transformers movies. It just like a lot of like most of the movies we've seen this year, when that article came out last week about them doing focus groups, I'm like, yo, it makes sense. Like it's literally everything this year has felt like that. So
that's what it felt like. Yeah.
Yeah. So I at the very least can respect that Todd Phillips like at least went for something that was trying to be elevated. Again, Todd Phillips,
when you don't have the sauce,
well,
maybe you know.
Yeah, Todd Phillips, he's not as smart as he thinks he is, like for sure. But, you know, and he tried to go, I feel like this movie would have been an amazing French $2 million, you know what I'm saying? Like character piece, character study. If it didn't have the expectations of Joker and Harley Quinn and DC and Gotham and all these things. Like if it was just a $2 million, $3 million French movie about a mentally broken prisoner who has like altered personalities, it would have been fine. Like it probably would have came and went. It might have honestly maybe won some awards. But it's the fact that it's not just a Joker, but it's a Joker sequel when the first one was already successful and yeah. So but yeah. Todd Phillips is not that smart.
Well, and that's the thing, exactly to what you're saying. Like, I think both of these films easily could have been done. I mean, we already know they could have, but without this Joker character, not making it tied into the world of DC. Because, even in the last one, having like Bruce Wayne and then this one having Harvey Dent, we basically see the origin story. Again, sorry for spoilers. Like, we have to kind of talk about this. But, all of this feels so shoehorned in. Like you expect, okay, by the end of this, something's going to happen. Half of his face is going to be messed up in some way. And it's like, think about it with like, again, French cinema. I never know how to pronounce this one, but like Lahane,
oh, yeah.
like
stuff
like that. Yeah. It's like have this like anarchist type of character, have this, very like dark origin, explore something like that, explore a gritty world. You could have accomplished both of these movies without using this Joker character, without shoehorning in DC characters. It just feels so uninspired, even though it is taking that swing at the same time. Like you said, like, yes, if they made a straightforward Joker origin story with that first one, made it less artsy, less Taxi Driver, less King of Comedy, that would also be uninspired. But still, what Todd Phillips did somehow also just feels very like just derivative. Like we've seen better movies kind of accomplishing exactly what he's trying to do. And honestly, he seems like a cool guy. I don't mean to sit here and like,
yeah, no, he seems cool. Yeah,
it's just, there's just something about it that just feels very self-indulgent. Like, so like, oh, look at me, like I'm taking this big ambitious swing. But then when you don't know how to handle that ambition, when you don't know how to like harness it into something palatable, why do it at all?
Yeah, it kind of feels like this movie hit so many people because it might have been the first time that they were hearing about these kind of thematic elements. A lot of people haven't seen King of Comedy. A lot of people haven't seen a Scorsese movie. I was literally just talking to someone this weekend at LA Comic Con and talking about the Joker 2. And I was like, yeah, I didn't really like the first one. And they were like, why? And I was like, oh, it's like King of Comedy and Scorsese. And they're like, what's a Scorsese? There's a lot of people who don't know even who Scorsese is. Like they just don't watch Scorsese movies. They just watch kind of like big budget movies. And they see Joker and they're like, yeah, I'll watch that. And it was different from like the Marvel stuff and the Marvel feel. And that's why they were like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then this movie comes out and they're just confused by it. And they're just like, what? Right. What is this? Right. So I think that has a lot to do with it.
And this could have been cool. This could have been different. This could have been like the music, like the musical didn't unsell me. I think the music, and I think it didn't unsell a lot of people. Like if the music was good and it really like moved people, then people would have been in for it. I feel like, you know what I'm saying?
True. I agree with that.
And I feel like if the actual story had something for audiences to connect to, it's just the fact, and I respect it. I do respect the fact that this movie is kind of giving the middle finger to the fans. Is kind of, towards the end of the movie when when Arthur goes on his whole rant, spoiler alert, about not really being the Joker, and then you see the guys in the back start to throw their mask on the ground and walk out. Like, I felt like that was the majority of audiences, right? Like that's how, at least that's how I kind of felt. Like I had my Batman hat. I was like, got it, man. Like really, like this is what I sat here for 2 hours deep, and y'all just laying this on me now. And then yeah, so I feel like he perfectly captured how the audience was feeling almost in real time. Again, there's another line where Joaquin is like kind of shaking Lady Gaga, like, please, no more singing. Like, as literally, I was like, yes, that is me. Like right now, please don't sing anymore. Like, let's just talk the rest of it out.
I agree with that. I feel like that you kind of hit on it. We haven't really talked about how he can't sing. Like Joaquin cannot sing, bro. He can't sing to save his life.
He can. He can. In Walk the Line, he was great singing and Walk the Line, you know.
That's true. That's
And
true.
also,
I just felt like he sounded crap. I don't know.
I also love a bad singer in a musical, like Pierce Brosnan.
Really?
Pierce Brosnan and Mamma Mia, please give me 17 of those. I absolutely love every single musical number he had. I do not care. Just sell me on it. If I'm invested in the film, if I'm invested in your character and your story, that will not bother me. I listen to so many artists that technically like aren't great singers. Yeah,
That's
like
true.
Bright Eyes, like Connor Oberst from Bright Eyes. Like he's not a vocalist. He wouldn't go win American Idol, but I love his singing and I feel like the emotion. I think Joaquin, and I think Gaga did it too, because obviously, again, like we talked about, she can sing. And so in those moments where she's like singing softer and it's not perfect and it's not polished, I actually did kind of like it because it feels like a little bit more in line with this world that they've built around these characters. And so that's why either one of these, like her singing, his singing, none of that bothers me at all. It's just everything else. It's like, it doesn't sell me on the fact that I should be invested in these two people that are, you know, going through their little folie à deux moment.
I feel like, yeah, I agree with that. Maybe it's not necessarily the singing. It's more the number itself. What RB3 said, the way it's shot, that's two. But the arrangement, I feel like a lot of like, if you're doing a cover, arrangement is key. And arrangement just means like, how are you going to do it? Are you going to do it the exact same way as the original artist? Are you going to mix it up? Are you going to do something different to it? Like arrangement really matters when you do these kind of musical numbers, especially from songs that people might know. So that might have been it for me, where I was just kind of bored by the arrangement at all and by the directing of it.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I mean, yeah, I mean, I feel that the naturalism. I personally would have liked it to be a little more polished. I mean, I can't listen to any song on this. And
give me some auto-tune, bro.
Well, yeah, give something to clean up a little bit. But I do feel, and I do agree perfectly with what JJ Bill Simpson said in the chat. They could have made it more clear when they're fantasizing they were better singers, and in reality they were bad. Like, I think that's honestly a great compromise, and that actually would have been a creative way to show like the musical situation of it. But we just know what Lady Gaga can do. And the fact that some of the songs on the Lady Gaga album overlaps with this movie, and I hear on her album how good it sounds, is like, bruh, like, I wanted to hear this in IMAX. Like, I want to hear this bumping, you know? But yeah, that's you know, it hurts, man. It hurts. It's like,
what's going to happen with
so excited.
What's going to happen with Warner Brothers, guys, with this whole... I don't know what's going on, man. I don't know. I think Zaslav is like doing this all on purpose to just sink the company and then sell it. And I know that's like a theory that's I didn't come up with that. I think someone else came up with that theory, but I'm starting to buy into it now. What's going to happen with this investment in this movie that just completely tanked?
I mean, for me, I don't know if it's Zaslav's fault. I mean, from the Hollywood Reporter article that came out a few days ago, where the headline was "Why No One Will Get Fired for this movie," which is hilarious. Like the headlines they run for this versus the headlines for the Marvels, or you know, for Costa or for anybody else, is like absolutely insane.
It's literally spelled out for you,
right? Yeah, you already know what the Hollywood press what time they on. But I like the in that article they detail how, like, you know, the new regime. This was like the first big movie approved by the new regime, and Zaslav wasn't exactly in the house yet, but once he came in, he tried to have a meeting to bring the budget down, but they wasn't trying to bring the budget down. So, you know, and he said, if y'all want to do it as a musical, you know, he tried to ask them for some compromises, but Todd Phillips, he's the man at the studio. And you know, Warner Brothers, as a culture, they always try to pride themselves as being like the director's studio. You know, like they'll do 80 movies with Clint Eastwood, or they'll do like a bunch of movies with Nolan, you know, before they made Nolan mad, or, you know, things like that. They try to make themselves seem like, oh, we love directors, but so they probably tried to give Todd Phillips that treatment. And I don't know, sometimes not everybody needs all that, you know?
Yeah, what do you think, Sabrina?
Yeah, I just think it's been a very, I mean, we kind of talked about this a little bit, you and I, Andres, like right before we started the show. But I was going through my letterbox list of everything I've seen this year, and I just like preemptively kind of like put it in an order, just so it's all kind of fresh in my mind where things stand. I could go revisit some if I, whatever. And I was looking at the bottom half of my list, and I was like, I hate a lot of these movies, actually. Like, I actively dislike so many of them. And then the top part of the list is like stuff that I consider to be 4 or 5 stars. And so it's kind of been like where there's not really too many movies I've been walking out lately and just going like, oh, that's, you know, that's fine. I feel like that happens so much every single year. But this is one of those where that's not happening. And I know we have Mickey 17, and we've already kind of talked about Warner Brothers again, like this whole like director's first studio type of thing. Except this movie was supposed to come out forever ago. And then now it's being dumped in January. Could be nothing. Could be totally fine. I will be there opening night regardless. I love Bong Joon-ho. But I think their marketing just needs like a shift. I think they should have faith. If they are going to be, you know, pride themselves on being a director's first studio, make sure you can sell the vision that your director wants. I hate a mismatched marketing campaign for any type of film. Whenever there's just unless it's done in a very smart way, kind of like Hereditary. When you watch the trailers for Hereditary, you figured the film was going to go one way. You figured something was wrong with the sister. And it's the biggest plot twist. You know, 30 minutes into the film, bam, she's gone. And now the whole rest of the film has changed. That is entirely different from like even like an It Comes at Night. I know a lot of people were sold on that kind of like as a straightforward horror movie, and it's not. I still like the film. But yeah, let them shine. Let their vision shine. Stand by your directors. Let them have, you know, a say in a lot of this marketing. I'm not sure how that kind of works over there. But it seems from the way they've treated Mickey 17, how long it even took to get a trailer out there in the first place, it just seems like there's just a lot of mess. And they had a fantastic 2023. And I think they're going to end 2024 kind of in a really tough spot.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, let's move on to some other stuff that happened over the weekend. Go ahead, RB3.
Yeah, I was going to say real quick, thank you to all 21 of y'all watching live right now. All 21 of y'all, those are great numbers. Still only see 11 likes. I don't know what the heck is going on, but y'all need to go in there and hit that like button, every single one of y'all. Shout out Abilene Soul, said not going to see it here. Y'all could be my spark notes for the film. Thank you for tapping in. M. King Songbird waved at us. Joseph Weeks said he's not here today because he's trying to avoid Joker spoilers, but he's here in spirit. Cinema Gorilla says Joaquin has been shading Todd Phillips since Joker won award speeches. And Cinema Gorilla also said he's a propagandist, a studio puppet, but yeah. So yeah, you know, there's been a lot of crazy stuff out there, you know.
Well, speaking of something that I wanted to get to, I was going to say something else, but my transition was different. Something I really want to get to, guys, and I know this might have been not on docket because I know Joker was mainly on the docket, but never mind. I'll let you guys go first because I feel like mine is not as important as whatever you guys have as far as on the topics of your notes. But RB3, what do you have right now at the top of your notes after Joker?
Well, I know Sabrina saw a new movie yesterday, right?
That's right.
I did. I saw We Live in Time with Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh. And, I actually have it right here. They handed out these little tissues. I don't know if you remember RB3. We saw Marriage Story. They handed us little tissues for that one. And I cried during Marriage Story. We all know it was my number one that year. I was like gunning for Adam Driver. Again, speaking of Joaquin Phoenix, I was hoping he was going to beat him for Best Actor that year. But I needed these. I was trying not to touch it. So I actually ended up bringing tissues. I probably can't give a big full spoiler, but I will have or of course not a spoiler, but a big review. But I will have an article coming up on Geeks of Color that kind of goes really in depth on the film. So I know it's releasing this Friday, limited release, and then I think a larger release the following week. So I was blown away. I think this is one of the most beautiful, one of the most human films, just kind of really exploring life and the human condition in such an authentic and just very sincere way. I think the love in like the writing, everything in front of the camera, behind the camera works so well to kind of give that little glimpse. And of course, if you've seen the trailer, you know the story. So I went into it thinking it was going to be sad. And it was, but more than anything, it was just so, so beautiful. It was like a celebration of life, of memories, of vignettes that kind of, you know, lead you on the path that you're on. And that type of stuff just gets me. And then I cannot say enough how incredible Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh are. I know they're two of my favorite actors. So of course, in the most unbiased way, I just think they have this magical ability to make us feel every single ounce of whatever their character is going through. If they are laughing, we're laughing with them. If they're feeling pain, it's going to cut us deep. There is such a sincerity to them. And then so that paired along with this beautiful script was just unreal. Like they cry and you'll cry. So I'm not even joking that I had tears in my eyes throughout the entire runtime, and I cried many, many times. But I cannot stress enough how beautiful and just magical this film was. It's easily in my top 5. I don't know any of my orders or anything yet. But yeah, it lived up to every single one of my expectations, and I'm actually seeing it again in a few days. So can't wait to cry round 2.
I can't wait to see it. I really do. How do you feel about the award attention that it's going to receive?
I mean, it has, I think we kind of know A24, not to continue ragging on studios, but A24 does really fumble award season. And it's very, very disappointing because something like this easily, like this can win both of them so many awards across the board. So I hope they get that like FYC backup from A24's end. Yeah, there's so much, honestly. I want to see that happen, and they deliver. And even like the release date of this and The Brutalist. I know The Brutalist is another big one that A24 is having that has like awards talk already going on. I'm very, very curious to see months from now how they're gonna roll out the FYC campaign. So fingers crossed. There is more than enough potential for them to get those awards, especially I want Andrew to get it, like literally win Best Actor because of Tick Tick Boom as well. I wanted him to win that year. I did really love Will Smith and King Richard, but Andrew Garfield was my number one. So yeah.
How do you feel they're going to do with when it comes to picking? Because I know it's Adrian Brody and Felicity Jones, right? That's Brutalist.
Claire, is it Claire Foy or Felicity Jones? I don't know.
Oh, it might have been Claire Foy. I'm so sorry. I'm confusing my British girls. I was my British baby mamas. Yeah, my British girls. Yeah, it might have been Claire Foy. I'm so sorry.
No, you're totally good. I actually don't know. I haven't watched any trailers. I haven't read a single thing about it. I just think it might be Claire Foy, but I could be wrong. I mean, when it comes to that, I know that one is also, it definitely has an uphill battle because of its runtime and the fact that it's an intermission. So we'll see whatever that theatrical release is going to look like. I know that I think it premiered at like Beyond Fest pretty recently. And then of course was at like other film festivals. It's so hard to keep track of what premieres at what. But yeah, that one has a lot of fanfare. This one does too. I'm trying to think of any other A24. If you guys can think of anything.
They just had a one that came out in wide release, not raw, well, it's kind of wide. A Different Man, starring Sebastian Stan, and actually starring my man's Malcolm. Oh, I'm pulling him up. Actually, he follows the First Cut account. We might have him on an interview pretty soon, guys. He's a smaller part. He's a supporting part in A Different Man. Hold up, Jesus! I literally just DM'd him. Why is it not showing up? Sorry. Why you even say Malcolm? Alan Anthony Smith. He plays Malcolm in A Different Man. That's what it was in the A24 film. that just came out with Sebastian Stan. So yeah, I just saw that one. It was really, really good. I mean, Sebastian Stan was great. The comedy in it is also top tier as well. But it's also very heart moving, very sad. I feel like this is the movie Joker 2 probably should have been. You know what I'm saying? Like, also highlighting some a very interesting character transformation, almost like The Substance. Like, y'all probably have seen The Substance, but in The Substance, it was like that was looking freaky at the end of that. Some kind of similar happens in A Different Man. It's kind of crazy, but yeah, that's the A24 movie. I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to talking about more. I've already seen it.
Yeah.
By the way, it is Felicity Jones, Sabrina.
Oh, hell yeah. Good for her. Yeah, I mean, that's another one. I haven't seen that one yet, but it is on my list. I have to catch up on so many. I'm seeing Honora very, very soon. So, a lot of really good ones that I'm really looking forward to.
That's Neon, or is that? Yeah.
Yeah, Neon. And honestly, like, they've done a really good job. They've done a great job with FYC throughout the last few years. I believe Neon did Anatomy of a Fall, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Is Neon also doing the Zoe Saldana movie?
That's Netflix. That's Netflix movie.
You sure?
Yeah, Emilia Perez is do Netflix. Yeah.
I can't wait for that one.
I didn't know. My bad, man. I'm questioning you. Look at me. I can't believe Netflix is doing that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Huh?
Well, I'm trying to think about how like their FYC campaigns have been, but Neon knocks it out of the park.
Yeah,
years in a row. Parasite.
Well, yeah, I have problems with Neon. I mean, Neon, they'll put a lot of money into one thing, but then they won't put money into anything else. You know what I'm saying? Like, they definitely did good Anatomy of a Fall, but then they also disregarded Origin. They disregarded a bunch of like other movies that they had last year. Your movie, Andres, How to Blow Up a Pipeline. So it's like they're cool.
Came and went.
Yeah, they're cool. They do literally every studio does that, where like they like put all their chips behind one movie and just like let it rock. Which is cool. I appreciate that, but I hope that we I wish it would be for certain other films instead of It's
gonna be interesting, Sabrina. I know you're much more tapped into this than I am right now, but it is gonna be interesting because I do feel like Felicity Jones is Felicity Jones, man. Like, this is Jyn Erso, bro. No, but like, dead ass, like, she's like a really well respected actress, and then Adrian Brody as well. And then Florence Pugh is like, I mean, she's a superstar. So I do feel like they might try to invest in her more. Yeah, I don't know. Like, who knows?
They've both gotten so many nominations, right?
Yeah.
Like, Lucy Jones has at least gotten like 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, she won for Theory of Everything, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, so you're already like an awards darling. Florence Pugh is so young in her career, and the amount of accolades
and she's already
is just she's like a generational talent. I feel like her, and honestly, there's just such an incredible class of actors working right now, and she's part of that young group.
She's at the top of it, in my opinion. Her and the other homegirl,
Saoirse?
Lady Bird. Yes.
Exactly. We know right off the top of our heads, we're like, they are just like dominating so many of these roles. It is funny because I think Saoirse Ronan was offered the role in Black Widow that Florence Pugh plays, Yelena, and I think she turned it down. And it is pretty surprising that Florence Pugh, at the top of her game, accepted something like that and joined like the Marvel crew. So she kind of she has so much range. And again, everything I was saying that was like this entire film hinges on their performances. The screenplay is incredible, but in the hands of 2 people that maybe weren't them, it might not work as well. There's just so much authenticity, so much sincerity. I hope A24 will back all of this, because I know I was very disappointed with Iron Claw last year and the fact that they didn't put anything behind Zac Efron at all.
Yeah,
it's definitely going to be interesting.
That's another year that I feel like that's another one that they put all their chips behind. They had one big one last year that they put all their chips behind, and they tend to do that. I
already forgot.
Nothing for Priscilla either last year.
Yes. Yeah. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. But then again, it's like on the flip side, they had just one the year before with Everything Everywhere. And then they did one with Moonlight too. So they have a couple of here and there, but it's like, you're right. It's like, there's not, I feel like A24, which I'm very happy that this one's good and the other one's good. I hope they don't prioritize. I like Maxine a lot. I actually did like Maxine, But I feel like Maxine is kind of the most mid of the Ty West trilogy of
absolutely.
you know, and I wish, you know, I have a feeling that they're gonna push that one because it's Hollywood. It's like a very Hollywood centric movie. You know what I'm saying? And plus they wanted to give Mia Goth some praise, but I don't know.
Did that even do well at the end? Because I know, like, word of mouth, that was kind of another one where people were like, damn, this is so disappointing, and it had so much potential. I don't know, box office wise, if it even ended up doing super, super well. Obviously, I am all for horror performances getting nominations or really uplifting those. But out of that entire trilogy, if Mia Goth got anything for that one, and it's not even her fault, it's just her character had nothing to do. There are just there are just so many moments she's just staring at somebody talking, and her face is just kind of like, and she just had her character's just walking around the back lots. She's just constantly like, I was so bored by it, and it was so crazy because it had so much potential, like we talked about. So I think that is very unlikely. I don't think we'll see Maxine anywhere in awards conversations. Maybe if there was like a Golden Globes moment, but even then, I don't think so.
Yes,
I feel like. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, just to put up A24's website, their 2024 releases have included Maxine, Sing Sing, The Front Room, A Different Man, Janet Planet, Civil War, I Saw the TV Glow, Problemista, and Love Lies Bleeding.
So many good ones.
Yeah,
that's a lot of good ones. Yeah, I was gonna say Problemista, Love Lies Bleeding. Those are probably not necessarily like actresses and actors awards, but they're still really good.
Yeah, even like I Saw the TV Glow is also in my top 5 easily, if not probably my number one. And even then, that's another one where it's like, you know, again, genre film, it's not really going to get that much awards consideration. Yeah, I think from like A Different Man on, whatever their releases are, those are probably Sing Sing as well. You know, Coleman Domingo for that. Hopefully they can put some behind him because I know people are giving him so much praise.
Yeah, I can see some technical awards for Civil War. Sorry, my bad.
Oh yeah, that too.
No, you're good. Yeah, I could see that as well for sure. For me, it was Past Lives last year. That's what it was.
And Zone of Interest. And Zone of Interest.
And Zone of Interest. Good point. Yeah, those are definitely the ones they probably put their weight behind last year. More than any other ones for sure. Yeah, it's going to be interesting because I do feel like Florence is definitely getting a lot of attention, her career in general. But then again, the return of a Felicity Jones. You also have Amy Adams playing a dog. But it's going to be an interesting. Isn't that what she's doing in the movie? I don't know, bro.
She is. But Amy Adams, there's something, and I love her. I love Amy Adams, but Hillbilly Elegy, Dear Evan Hansen. Yeah. I feel like she takes a lot of these that have like, it's like the potential. It's so many L's. She takes a lot of these that have this potential. I don't think Night Bee will be bitch. I really don't think that will have any legs either. I know there is some positivity coming out of some of these festivals, but I just can't imagine a world where, you know, I think, is it Searchlight? That's doing that. Okay. So they're also usually really, really good too. Again, they have like a lot of the Yorgos's films. Like they have any like art house Disney film is obviously going through them. Like their FYC campaigns are incredible. They had Banshees of Inisherin years ago. But yeah, I just can't see a world where Night Bitch gets Amy Adams a Best Actress Oscar, but I'd love to be proven otherwise.
The only way this happens, and this is purely my speculation, is if it hits big. Like let's say it just randomly kicks ass and randomly just makes like, I don't know, $50 million or something. And then like suburban moms are just like really into it. And they're just like, that's me. I'm a dog. Yo, that's me. I feel lost. I feel like empty. You know, my husband ignores me. And like all the, you know, the ladies out there, all the white suburban moms feel seen somehow and just make it like a big hit. Like not Barbie, but like a halfway
Barbie, but for suburban white moms.
Yeah. I mean, that's what Barbie was anyway. I just feel like if it hits big, I could see people being like, all right, let's invest money into the FYC?
I am reading the book right now. I've had it for so long. It's been sitting on my desk probably for almost 3 years at this point. I cannot imagine a world, even though it is very interesting, I think it's almost too crazy. It's kind of like the way Substance is kind of like if you have that idea, but a mother, you know, we say she's turning into a dog. Like,
Yeah.
I can't see it. I think it's almost too weird for mainstream moms. I can't imagine like a wine mom going to see this unless she's like a little cool. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's Demi Moore.
Yeah.
She takes it. Just takes the Oscar.
That would be so sick.
And look, yeah, that would be amazing. Actually, that would be dope. I would say Fox Searchlight, they could pull an Oscar nomination at anything. They got Flaming Hot an Oscar nomination, which is like, who would have thought the Hot Cheeto movie would get an Oscar now?
Yeah, but that's Becky G, bro. Becky G got that
And
nomination.
didn't Diane Warren write it?
She wrote the song. Yeah, she wrote the song.
Yeah.
Right.
That's Diane.
Right. Well, you know,
Miss Diane is always getting nominated.
yeah,
She is.
They gonna figure out a way to get something. Bob Hoskins said, I feel like I'm the only one who liked Joker 2. Interesting. JJ, again, I'm more in the middle. I don't say I dislike it, but I'm more in the middle. JJ Bill Simpson says Sing Sing will probably get the push, especially for Coleman Domingo. I definitely agree with that for A24. Cinema Gorilla said, also, sorry, JJ Billingson said, do y'all think Zachary Levi's career is over? And then Cinema Gorilla said, JJ, no, because white men don't get canceled. Levi is going to get the Mel Gibson fans. So,
Okay, no, I'm sorry, you go.
No, you have to go.
I was to say, the thing about Zachary Levi is that nobody's a Zachary Levi fan. Like, there's not even, like, Republicans aren't Zachary Levi.
You said it.
Mel Gibson has his fans that overlook his stuff. Zachary Levi has no fans. Nobody. Harold and the Purple Crayon? Like, you mean to tell me that's not a fake movie? No one saw Shazam. Like, nobody. I don't even want to be mean to this man, but I've heard he's a nightmare, so I don't care, obviously. But I've never heard a single person say, you know what, I'm a fan of Zachary Levi.
Can I just say this is the biggest I told you so I think I've ever had in my career. I say career. Not even life. In my career, if I told you so. Again, I got the inside scoop, man. I told you guys, this guy's been in it since like 2016. He's been like going to like fundraisers and like rallies and stuff that they do in California, and I've been hearing about it, and I just was like, really? I didn't know. And then I told everyone, and you guys called me a liar.
I didn't say you were a liar. I just didn't know.
Yeah, he's still
trash. He's been trash.
He's still dapped up Dorian at the red carpet.
Yeah, and I was like, who cares, bro? He's still trash. And I've been saying it. And you remember the Nerd HQ shit at Comic-Con?
Oh, yeah.
You remember that? Mm-hmm. He would put that on, man. And apparently, like, he was not, he was doing some, he wasn't a good person back then either. And people were telling me, oh, this is recent. And I'm like, this ain't recent, bro. This is 2015, 2016 that I've been hearing about this. And I'm glad people are finally seeing his true colors. And he's being more open about it.
I'm not like a separate the art from the artist person, but I know there are people out there that are like that. But the thing is, Zachary Levi doesn't have art to separate.
Exactly. He's just trash.
What has he ever been in that has ever even been good?
He's not good. He's not a good actor, bro.
Like, he's literally, the first Shazam is totally fine. He's playing a man baby. So he's playing himself.
I think it's terrible, but
I think
he was bad in that.
I like the kids. I think it's cute. He's playing a little man baby. That's like very up his alley. But yeah, there's just really nothing. So that's the thing is, I don't even think he had a career to begin with. So I don't even think he ruined his career.
I exactly feel the way, because I really do feel like he's just trash. Like, every movie he's been in, every single performance he's given, this guy is the most bland dude ever. And the fact that people are just finding out about this, and he made a movie called Purple Crayon. That tells you everything.
Harold and the Purple Crayon.
Come on.
All right, man. Purple Crayon Army, rise up.
Bro, remember when he was crying about like DC and crying about like But he made like a video crying up, like, what happened to my movie?
Well, see, this is a full circle moment for First Cut fans, because our first review ever was for Shazam, and our second review ever was for Joker. So there we go. You know what I'm saying? Like we
No way.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah. I used to drive out to Andres' apartment in North Hollywood.
Did we do Shazam though?
We did Shazam. That was our very first review, bro. Like,
did I trash it? Because I felt like I.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I better have trashed it.
Yeah.
I don't even remember.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was trash when I was watching it. Yeah.
Kevin Davis does bring up a good point. I forget because it's not his face. Zachary Levi is pretty good in Tangled. So I guess he got his one thing. He got his one thing. I was trying to think. Wasn't there like a show or something that he was a part of like a decade or two ago? That people
Community? No, not Community. Chuck.
It might have been Chuck. It might have been Chuck.
I've never seen it, but
I've never heard of Chuck in my life.
Yeah.
So is he Chuck? Is he the titular?
I think so. Yeah.
Interesting.
I think. Yeah, he is. Yeah. He is Chuck Barton. Yeah, Chuck Barton.
Okay, so I guess for the people that like Chuck, he has Chuck. He has Tangled. Right. Maybe he should sing more. Maybe he should stop talking as much and just like chill for a sec and then stick to singing.
I'm just glad I'm vindicated. Because I do feel like I've been saying this for so long. Like ever since I heard about it from my homies back in my old job, who were telling me all the hot scoops. And I just feel vindicated, man. My former roommate was like worked for him at that Nerd HQ parties, and he was like, bro, this dude's a monster. Just a piece of crap. And I was like, all right. At least I can keep that in mind and know it. And now that he's outed as just a goofball, I'm just happy. I feel vindicated.
It kind of reminds me of a Gina Carano situation where like, it's like, oh, her career is over because people are canceling her. What career? Yeah. Like what career in entertainment, in film, and any of that? Like, is she an incredible actress? No. Is Zachary Levi? He like in my head, he knows how to do like one thing well. And of course, I haven't seen all of his work, but whatever. We're going from talking about Florence Pugh and Andrew Garfield and
I think it's because someone commented,
like Coleman Domingo and all these other people, and then we're talking about Zachary Levi. It's like you can just so many different levels. Yeah.
I feel like when Taika made it, he was like, I'm gonna kill you off in the first 5 seconds of my movie, of the new Thor movie.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Yeah.
I thought that was hysterical.
I feel like that's what they
and in context now, it's funny. It's even funnier now. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us here for Cut Live. I'm realizing we're past time.
Well, yeah. I know, Sabrina, you probably have to run. Andres, is there anything else you wanted to
Yeah, one last thing. I don't know if you guys have time, but I just wanted to say, as someone who's also been just like hyper keeping up with like DC movie news, I've made videos about it on First Cut. No one watches it, but it's cool. We finally have a Jon Stewart, which is one of the most important castings I think we've had in the DC universe. Jon Stewart is Green Lantern, and it's going to be Aaron Pierre. We just saw him in Rebel Ridge. We talked about it a lot, RB3 last week and the week before. Aaron Pierre is going to be Jon Stewart. How do you guys feel about it, knowing whatever you guys know about the character and the actor? Sabrina.
Yeah, I haven't seen Rebel Ridge. I've heard incredible things. I think this guy looks really great. I've seen it do the little autoplay on Netflix. So maybe now I'll have to turn it on. But I think it's just actually, we've talked about this a little bit. So this is basically my main thought with everything. This seems like the first really interesting casting that they've done so far with a lot of this James Gunn universe of all this DC stuff. I felt like everything has been so boring, and I wanted to see a fresh face. I wanted to see somebody that can get me interested in this character, because if you're going to ask me, like, are you interested in Green Lantern? I'm going to be like, what are you talking about? But I'll check this out. I started watching Penguin. Okay, guys, I was a big superhero girl my entire life growing up. And then I think I want to say it was from like maybe 2018 to basically now. I've just been pretty disappointed by most of what I'm seeing. So I'm slowly starting to get back into things. I think Penguin is another great example of taking these ideas. I did just watch Sopranos. And so this kind of just reminds me of like if Tony Soprano existed in Gotham, and I really, really enjoy it. So yeah, this is another cool one. I will totally check this out. And if that first episode is good, like I'll continue it. So shout out to them for some interesting casting for once.
What do you think, RB3?
I love it, man. I love it.
Okay.
I've been gassing up Aaron Pierre all year, ever since Genius, MLK, and X, where he played Malcolm X. Phenomenal role. A lot of bravery playing Malcolm X after Denzel. Like, who could follow up Denzel? You know what I'm saying? But he did a phenomenal job in that. Gassed him up for that incredibly. Gassed him up, obviously, in Rebel Ridge. I felt like I was the only black person who liked that movie. And then we got him coming up in Mufasa pretty soon. He's about to be Mufasa, where he's actually playing opposite of Calvin Harrison Jr., who was so we saw Martin Luther King and Malcolm X on screen together. Now we're about to see him play Mufasa and Scar. Like, I'm very excited. So man, I'm hyped for this casting. I know a lot of people online, especially a lot of black people, are a little bit concerned about the change in skin color, particularly because traditionally Jon Stewart is a darker skin. I actually learned this today on Real Ones, which our Real Ones episode will be coming out soon. We'll be talking fully about Joker in that episode. John pointed out that they actually based the original Jon Stewart on Sidney Poitier, the image of Sidney Poitier back in the 60s. I personally don't mind him being light-skinned. I think it's fine. I think it's fine. I think if you're overreacting to that, I'm just glad we're getting a black superhero in the DC universe. And to be honest, and this is more of a nuanced conversation. Not a lot of people really won't understand it or really get it, but there aren't a lot of light-skinned black male actors out there. If you really, really think about it, the most like male actors in terms of black actors are usually darker skinned anyway. Like, I appreciate that this is a little bit of a change of pace. Is it different from the character? Yes, but it doesn't really, like, he's still black. So
I agree. I do feel like there is a lot of nuance to this. Obviously, that was my biggest concern, to be honest. It's because if I'm being real, I grew up with Justice League. This is my Green Lantern. I said it on Twitter, and I love John. I really do feel like he was one of the characters that I really did see a lot of myself, because he was a little bit quieter, because he was a little bit more, introverted, and not as like, big and bombastic and cool and powerful like Superman or other characters. So I loved John. He used to be one of my favorite comic book superheroes. I loved his comics. I think they were cool. I do feel it is really kind of weird, and that's the best thing I can say, that it is a purposefully drawn dark-skinned black guy, and they go out of their way to hire when they have it said that they've interviewed and they've auditioned other darker skinned guys, and they went out of their way out of like the 4 other guys, all of them were dark skinned, and they picked the one guy. I was like, that's a little weird. It also adds to me what you said, Sabrina, about the castings that I felt have been a little lame / weird / kind of like blah and meh. It just feels like I'm a little worried, partially because of that. I do feel like great actor. We saw him in a lot of roles, like you said, RB3. But I do feel like it is a little weird with a character who is purposefully drawn as a darkish skin actor to be played by a light skin actor when that is the character, and we don't see too many of those characters in fiction, and that's why I agree with you in the Hollywood sense of it all. There isn't that many light skinned black guy actors. I've heard that before, and that's true. But in this context, in the context of superheroes and darker skinned guys, and the fact that that's what Jon Stewart has been his entire run, I do feel like it was a little weird. It's a little weird. That's the best I can say as far as my opinion. I'll still give it a chance, and I still love the character, but I just definitely feel like it's a missed opportunity. I don't know. That's just me right now.
Yeah.
So
I hear that 100%. And I'm actually, I would agree. I would agree for the most part, and I would agree, especially if it was a sister. You know what I'm saying? If it was a black girl, a dark skinned black girl, because we definitely don't see any dark skinned black girl representation on screen. But and shout out to FD Signifier. He's the one who made this point. That's probably where you heard this, Andres. But think about the biggest movie stars in the world, black movie stars.
Oh, that is probably where I heard it. Yeah,
Denzel, Wesley Snipes, Jamie Foxx, all brothers. Most brothers are darker. You know what I'm saying? Literally in the superhero game, Chadwick Boseman, you know, is Black Panther, dark skinned brother.
Don Cheadle.
Don Cheadle, dark skinned brother. You know,
Simpson.
Exactly. Samuel Jackson too. Like, you know, yeah, we get a lot of dark skin representation on the male side, and I'm cool with that, and I love that. But I do want to see, for the light skinned little boys out there, for them to have something too, and that's why I'm not mad at it. I'm not gonna cause a fuss about it, because if he was dark skin or light skin, either way, what that just told me, they went with the best actor who they felt fitted best, and Aaron Pierre to me is especially when you consider it was versus him versus the brother Stephen James. I love Stephen James, love him, and he seems cool and he seems nice, but he plays he plays a lot of sensitive characters, which is dope. But we literally just saw Aaron Pierre play tough. Like, we just saw him play this tough, ragged, like, action hero in Rebel Ridge. So it's kind of perfect to me.
I agree with that. I just feel like it's kind of different if you're a fan of the character. If you're meeting the character for the first time, like maybe you are Sabrina, or maybe, like you said, RB3, little boys out there, that's cool, because I do feel like you're right. Maybe they could be like, yo, who's this guy? He's cool. But I do feel like if you've known the character for a while, like I have, and like a lot of people have, it is kind of weird that they're just like, you know, we've seen him drawn this way for years. We've seen him animated this way. He had a movie 2 years ago called Green Lantern, an animated movie, and he was dark skinned in that too. Like, it is a little weird. It just feels like this is how he's always been in animated movies, animated shows, comics. So this is what we get now. It just feels off, but at the same time, I do feel like maybe I'll learn to accept it. To me, it's more about the DC of it all, RB3, because I do feel like DC has always been, I've said this for years, has always been more, I know the cat's like, I gotta join this conversation. Has always been a little bit more open-minded and a little bit more like, hey, let's purposefully cast a wider net. And now I just kind of feel like they're going with like run-of-the-mill, like typical old school actors, which is cool. But I just feel like this was an opportunity for them to try something different, and they kind of went with a weird kind of different, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, I know, Sabrina, you might have to run pretty soon. I don't know if you had any.
I think we might have to run pretty soon, RB3, because also we're doing Sabak, guys. Just a heads up, we are doing Sabak the Block in about a couple minutes. So make sure you guys stick around for that. We might take like a 5-10 minute break and then come back for Sabak. But yeah, Sabrina, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I loved a lot of our discussions today. I think it's very interesting to see where the future of cinema is headed. When I went to a Megalopolis Q&A, Francis Ford Coppola, Robert De Niro, they were absolutely wilding out. Spike Lee was the only one that was all there and like present in the conversation. And they were kind of hinting at the future of cinema and if they were nervous or not, especially because, you know, they're like, whatever. Very interesting. We will be here to talk about it weekly. And I'm just excited to have these conversations with you guys.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
RB3, any final thoughts?
No final thoughts at the moment. But you know, shout out to Todd Philips. I said you weren't a very smart man. I didn't mean that. You are a very smart man. I love The Hangover and I love Joker 1.
Did you say that?
So, yeah, I did say that. But
Yeah.
but you know, your movies are a little bit smarter. They try to be a little bit smarter than they are actually. So that's my point. I still love you, Todd Phillips. Hangover is one of my favorite comedies of all time.
Facts.
There you go, guys. Alrighty, guys. For the First Cut crew, we're going to be peacing out. Sabrina, where can everyone find?
You can follow me on TikTok and Twitter at Sabrina on Film, and then Instagram at Sabrina.onfilm, and then check out my We Live in Time review, probably going up on like Monday.
RB3.
Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Director RB3.
And you can follow me at Squad Leader Race. Make sure you guys tune into First Cut if you haven't done so already. Tune in exactly 10 minutes because we are going to be talking Star Wars on Sabak the Block. But either way, guys, for the First Cut crew, we're going to be peace. Deuces. I got to step away.